You like my hair? I can't say that we just woke up, but yeah, I woke up to an email basically saying I'm not going to go to work today, so we're here. Uh, I've been up for a while now, thinking I was going to go to work today, but you know how that happens. Mind starts running, can't stop, can't go back to sleep, right? So here we are. And the thing that I want to actually talk about, since we're going to do this, is half on, half off where we left off a couple days ago, right? So we left off establishing that the rules of the universe dictate. Remember, because these are finite rules we've been given in this place, right? Correct? So, with these finite rules, right? These rules that we call laws, the laws of our universe, the laws of our existence, right? We all have fundamental rules and laws that we have to follow. It doesn't matter if you're a scientist and you don't believe in religion. It doesn't matter if you're religion and you denounce science. Well, I don't think many people denounce science these days. Now it's trying to, like with New Age spirituality, they're trying to incorporate it both together, which I don't know if you guys know this. A little bit of a history lesson before we get into this. You can't actually do that. Because up until a couple hundred years ago, what do you think occult knowledge, esoteric knowledge, really was? Think about it. Just think about it. This is not what we're going to talk about today, but I want you to sit back and I want you to think about this. We lived in a day and age up until from thousands and thousands of years ago, up until a couple hundred years ago, right? We lived in a day and age where anything that you believed in other than your religion and your God got you that, right? So all esoteric knowledge is, all occult knowledge is science. Science was there to compete with religion thousands of years ago. The mainstream, as you would call it at the time, did not accept this. Anybody who follows anything else will be. So you got to take it underground. That's all. Go back and read it. For anybody that can read between the lines, go back and read anything occult-based, esoteric-based, anything. All occult knowledge and esoteric knowledge is the discovery and the keeping alive of what modern science turned into. And that is truth. That's truth. How else would you have the Hermetic laws describing the 7 laws of physics? Right? Law of correspondence, law of duality, law of polarity. Why do nobody, and I'm talking to you guys because you guys mostly are younger. I can see the statistics after I do it live. Most of you guys are younger. So hopefully, this will help perception. This will help consciousness going forward, right? So the thing that I wanted to talk about today, going off of what we established a couple days ago, as far as simulation versus real versus holographic, for what people want to think this is. I took the basic facts of the universe and I laid them out for you. And the laws of the universe dictate that this cannot be a simulation. Because from the beginning of existence, from the Big Bang, which wasn't even really a bang, right? It was there all at once. It says you have rules. You start at A, you end at Z. In a simulation, you do not have a fixed set of rules. You start at A, you end at Z. No, it is a ping pong. First this happens, then this happens, then this happens, then this happens. That is not how our universe works. Our universe works as cause and effect. The billions of things that happened before you were even born dictated you tuning into that. You are not making conscious choices. You are making finite decisions. Everything was already set into place for you to make that decision. Free will is an illusion. You just have your eye too close to the keyhole and you're not backed up looking at the whole picture. You're not seeing that there are things set in your timeline that are guaranteed to happen. You have a death date. Everybody does. The human body is set to a certain finite amount of heartbeats. Depending on how bad you trash your body is how fast you get to that finite amount of heartbeats. What did we say? This is closer to a program being run, almost like a history lesson. And how does science explain how we see our world? It's a holographic illusion, projection. It is not the same of what we see as what is really there, right? Energy, frequency, vibration. The three things that Tesla himself discovered and told us that this universe is based on. Energy, frequency, vibration. There is real magic in this world based on science. Guess what it is? Energy, frequency, vibration. Why do you think music? Why do you think movies? Why do you think a good soliloquy, right? Any Shakespeare fans out there? Can move you so much because it incorporates the three fundamental laws of the universe. The only thing that can affect change in said universe: frequency, energy, vibration. You have to incorporate the three if you want to make a change. So, when you take your hand and you place it against this wall, are you really touching a wall? No, you're not. You are one magnetic field touching another. And because you are separated, because there is a magnetic push, that's why you feel that. That's why you feel that. Everything else is just filled in. So let's get to another fundamental law of the universe, something that I've been teaching you guys for over 2 years. Hermeticism. Learn it, live it, love it. It's truth. The law of duality. Right? The law of duality. So based off the law of duality, you can automatically assume, because this is actually what I wanted to talk about today, right? and that is Mr. Balin went on Rogan, right? I'm sure everybody saw it. Millions of people have seen it already, so I'm sure you've at least seen some kind of uh, what clip or whatever else. There's a thought experiment that back in college they would give you to determine how open your mind is, how open your consciousness is. And they would say, take this arrow. This is a magic arrow. You're going to fire this arrow off, and it's going to go through everything. It's going to fly through everything. The only thing it cannot fly through is non-existence. So when you fire this arrow off, do you believe that it goes on forever? Or do you believe at some point it's going to hit a wall? And that's where you get this infinite versus finite discussion on our universe. How some people think that it is not infinite, that it is more like we're trapped in a black hole because there's going to be walls, and then what's beyond those walls, and blah, 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 blah. Right? You get the thought experiment now. Here's the problem. The finite versus infinite discussion is irrelevant. It's irrelevant. The law of duality has already told you what the universe is. Finite versus infinite. How do you know that? Law of duality states that for every one of you, there is an opposite. Right? This is where some scientists get the many worlds theory from, right? Like there's millions of versions of you. Some, like, instead of having cerebral palsy for me, I might be missing an eye, right? My hair might be pink. I might be bald instead of, receding. Shit like that. That's what law of duality states. So if we were to go off of fundamental laws of the universe, we already have our answer to whether if it's finite or infinite. It's infinite because you cannot have a dual state of reality in a finite space. You can't. Think about it. Just think about it. The entire universe can be found in a grain of sand. The entire universe can be found in a single molecular cell inside your body. Everything you find out there is inside you billions, trillions, quadrillions of times over. There is more inside you than you can put in the ocean. Did you guys know that? Based off of these fundamental laws. The question is not whether God exists or not. The question is, when are we going to realize that each and every one of us is a part of him, or her, or it, or whatever it is? Because existence is your consciousness. What religious people would call their soul. That is consciousness. And consciousness is deliberately ever expanding, ever learning, ever evolving. Almost like that's its point. So, is the universe finite? No. No. It's infinite. Are you the only one of yourself in existence? Sorry to shatter your delusion, but no. You're not special. There is at least one other out there. Whether they act just like you or they're the opposite of you. Say if you're a good person, they're the person that gives in to all of their dirty little urges. So no, not finite. No, you're not alone. Will you ever find that version of yourself? Probably not. Because law of duality states that if we're on one crazy ass side of the universe, that other version of you, do you think you'd ever be able to get over there and meet them in time? No. And no, none of this can actually be proven. People make theories on them because, that's the way the human mind works. I'm simply trying to give you the baseline facts about everything. So you know when you run into something, what you can trust and what you can tell someone is just trying to make a buck off of your uneducated little mind, right? That's the difference. So you have to look. This is why I say I love science. No, not parallel universes. It exists in our universe. It's the law of duality. We're over here, so your opposite, your doppelganger, whatever the hell you want to call it, way over there. We're talking way over there. Other end of the universe type shit. That's what I'm saying. It's not finite. It's infinite. So many worlds would mean inside our own existence. That is what the fundamental laws that we have been given to this existence, to this consciousness that we live in. These are the laws. So these are the laws that you can trust for your existence. For every action there is an equal and opposite reaction. Right? Guaranteed. Cannot dispute that. If you throw an apple into the air, the apple's going to come down. If you hit somebody in the face, if you don't hit them hard enough, they're going to hit you back. Cause and effect. Law of duality. Which means mirror exists. The reverse of you exists. This is why I say I love, adore, and trust science, because it's things that you can see with your own two eyes that you know are true. I hate scientists because all scientists are egoic children like the rest of us. Again, you would have to go back to my theory that everybody is a 2 or 5-year-old child, because it takes true trauma to mature and excel past the state of consciousness, hi Bob, where we exist in. We do not actually learn. We are told what to believe as children. We are not allowed to experiment and come up with answers for ourselves. We are told what to believe. We are born into religions to believe in. We are born into family systems that we have to believe in. This is nothing that we get to experiment and discover and come up with actual factual evidence that we believe in ourselves. God is even an instrument that you could say has been created to control, because we are born into these systems. But anything that you know to be true can be experimented and proven. That's what science shows. So yes, love science, hate scientists. I will never trust an egoic human mind. especially one so closed off that it can't be anything else. It can't be anything else. Again, now I might sit here and say it's never going to be simulation theory, but I'm not saying that it can't be anything else out there. I'm not saying that reality isn't real. Every time I come on here, I simply tell you, we're going to do a thought experiment today. And I tell you, this is what some people believe, so we're going to work through this. It's all about figuring out what's real. And I'm not trying to do this to convince anybody. I'm doing this for myself. If I'm trying to give you something entertaining and educational to listen to if you're going to tune in and listen to my dumbass speak. Because like I said from the beginning, this is about doing the consecutive good things, the consecutive routines that I had going when I was at my most successful. Dustin can't talk right now. It's not connecting. But that's what this has been about. So if I'm going to get on here and I'm going to talk to you guys, I'm going to give you guys something that has factual information in it, something that you can hang your hat on and hold on to. Something that can actually factually be proven in front of your face. As well as we're going to talk about some crazy shit too. Because I love to theorize. The world is a very, very magical place. Let alone the universe. I mean, think about it. Up until, a couple years ago, time was known as a fundamental law of the universe. Now we know time is only created by entropy. So time cannot be a fundamental law of the universe because time lives here but does not live out there. Imagine that. You actually need a star, a supernova, a black hole, a quasar. You actually need something like that to create enough entropy to create the foundation of time. So if you can get away from the Earth, imagine this. You can live forever. But there's a God. But my soul goes to heaven. Wait, what? Nah. Calm down. No. Time is a byproduct, which tells you what? The human existence is meant to be forever. Somehow, we get put on a planet that fundamentally grants us a time limit, right? But you take away that one factor, suddenly you live forever. Suddenly my grandfather is still sitting right here beside me instead of me sitting here mourning him 30 years later. Right? That's what it means. I think more of you should stick your head in fucking books and get the actual facts and the evidence than just relying on these cheap little influencers that just want to make money off your asses. Because either you're older and you didn't go to school the way you should have, or you're younger and you haven't learned the actual truth yet. It's one of the two. But yeah, the universe is infinite, not finite, because of the law of duality, because of the law of correspondence, because of the 7 hermetic fucking laws. You guys have a good day.